Last time on Wanderlust.
You know, maybe we'll get lucky and it's just that we have to get to the top of the rocks, and that finishes the trial.
When you get to the top, it's rounded over boulders, and it's uneven and difficult to find your footing. As you look down, you feel yourself drawn, like you're being pulled into this place. As you all stand up here, you see Hector first reach his hand in. Estelle and Fred, you feel an surging bite of adrenaline and rage as you lunge forward for this puddle, sticking your hands in.
When you say that we're alone, do you mean that, like, each of us individually are separate from each other?
You are not with the party. You are alone. You hear howling in the forest.
Hector, snap out of it. It's me.
I know, and you will be my first prey!
I'm thinking maybe we could, instead of fighting each other, we could team up together and then fight whatever thing is trying to pit us together, or pit us against each other.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to jump up and kill that wolf.
Okay.
Like, that seems like the logical explanation. Or not explanation, or course of action.
It has been many years since someone would dare to do this. I must admit, though not one of the ones chosen for a pilgrimage, I am enticed.
It crouches, snarls, and then with total silence leaps at you.
Kill this deer and you can leave.
I'm really sorry that you had to be a part of this, but I know Kataris will take care of you.
Look, I think we all know that not all of us are getting out of here alive, and I have to get back, so I'm sorry about that, but you happen to be the blood toll that I walked into first. There's nothing personal about this.
Once it gets to the point where he is like crossing over where she's at, she's gonna leap up with her pointed stick and try to follow it up with her knife.
And you look down and see like a horrible smoking wound in your chest where he had shot you at point blank range.
So she runs up and, like, grabs this wolf, and, like, as she's rolling over the edge, she says, "You should have picked someone who doesn't believe that gods can be killed."
And you can feel yourself picking up more speed as you hit the ground. Fred, starting with you. Where you were last time, there was a wolf standing on your chest, and you felt a very unpleasant pop in your chest, and the foot sunk down a little bit further. And then, out of nowhere, you just kind of saw Autumn spear tackle the wolf and just kind of using all of her momentum throw herself and the wolf off a cliff, right? Just into the forest. If you remember, you're on a dubiously heighted stone outcropping that this wolf was sitting on in the sky. And that would be an odd thing to see. And you stare at that for a second, your breath's coming painfully, as all at once, this world around you starts to fade. The smell of the forest being replaced with the over-clean smell of, or like lack of smell that comes from thick snowfall. Your body growing cold as you find yourself on your back, kind of wheezing on this stone pillar, this stone pile of rocks next to this bloody fountain, pouring down over the snow. As you look around, you like maybe look over the edge a little bit and see, you can see Juliet laying on the ground with like an obvious burn wound on her chest. Estelle is standing over her. At the same time, next to you, Hector seems to be like pulling himself out of the fountain. So does Maul. And I nearly said Sheriff Mitchell again. His first name is not Sheriff. I will get better about it. And Mitchell also, like, just sort of stirring from around the fountain, looking around, confused, and sort of a little bit afraid. You can see that Maul has, like, cuts, kind of just, like, small surface, and usually in patterns of, like, 3 or 4, like, cuts across her cheek, on her arms. Her, like, clothes are kind of ripped up in places where it looks like claws or teeth got into them. Sheriff Mitchell looks fine, and Hector's just kind of, like, peering into your face. And that is where we are starting.
Estelle, how bad is it? I can't really feel it right now, which could be good or really bad. I just feel cold.
So Estelle's over you. I think she's already got, like, your shirt, because it was in her, like, stomach or chest?
Chest.
It was chest. So she's, like, got your shirt, like, pulled down as much as possible to, like, look at it. How bad does it look?
Roll me some kind of medical check.
So the only medical thing I have is surgical. That doesn't feel right.
Whatever medical skill you have, you would be adept at gauging injuries to some extent. You know what I mean?
I guess I could use that to tell if I need to do surgery
like you're a mammalian, like, surgical expert, even if it's mostly focused on animals.
Okay, that's fair. +4.
So it looks bad in a weird way. So there are surface burns that, like, probably should be dressed or they will become infected. There also seems to be a great deal of bruising. This would almost seem to be similar to what you would expect from, like, more of a blunt force. It looks like almost like she was hit with, like, imagine a balloon full of, like, molten lead. So it was a lot of weight and a lot of force exerted over a somewhat broad area. You'd be able to tell that there are, like, maybe fractured and, like, broken bones around, like, her collarbone, maybe some ribs, like, bad trauma. And you're basically sitting here going, like, is this bad enough that it is, like, a punctured lung? Or, like, is there internal bleeding? These are, like, the things that you're trying to, like, check and deduce later.
I mean, it's not good. I'm trying to, and she's, like, very, like, tenderly kind of, like, pressing her fingers around to see what she can tell.
Like how far it extends, yeah.
Yeah, how far it extends. And I think she also starts taking some of the snow around us and kind of, like, packing it and using it almost as, like, an ice pack around the bruising. So you almost definitely have some kind of fracture. There's a lot of bruising here. So hopefully this will kind of bring down the bruising a little bit, and I've got some medical tape that we can start wrapping you so everything will stay in place. I'm not sure how much else I'm going to be able to do out here.
I've got and she, like, starts to reach for her backpack because she's like, I've got first aid, and then she, like, moves her arm, and that, like, jostles her collarbone, and she's like, never mind, it's in my backpack.
Put your arm. I've got some first aid stuff too. If I need more, I'll look in your pack. But for now, definitely rest, and let's keep the snow on it so hopefully we can get some of the bruising down. Cody, I don't know how long Estelle was sitting there by herself, but I think based on what was going around with everyone else, she probably had enough time to build, like, a fire on, like, the rocky area around the lake. So I think we've got at least a fire going. I think she kind of figured, like, I don't know the exact timing, but she probably did enough math to know we were going to be here overnight.
Yep.
So, we have a very loose campsite, I think, based on what she was able to put together before she saw Juliet fall.
Okay, cool. Juliet, make me a, like, constitution check. Or, like, something that relates.
Dexterous hands.
Yeah, I think athletics is my only vaguely physical attribute.
That works, yeah. I'll take that.
That's a 2.
Cool.
That's a bad face.
It's not a great face.
I think your face is great, Cody.
So, as you lay there with, like, this ice pack on yourself, your vision kind of starts to cloud in and out. You're conscious, but not all the way there. You can kind of feel yourself, like, slipping in and out, like you kind of, like, fade out for a bit and then fade back in by this fire. And every time you fade out, you hear those loud sounds, like, of humming, that buzz of insects. You smell that rich smell of the forest. And every time, like, you fade out, you're in the forest, moss and stones and underbrush all around, and far off in the distance, you can just see a figure slowly moving towards you. And then you kind of snap back in, and you're just sitting by the fire, you feel yourself warming a little bit, and then it fades out a bit, you know, you just kind of, like, blink, and still far off in the distance, there's that figure moving closer. Glowing green eyes, a face growing more defined, seemingly made of perfectly carved and blushing wood, you know, like when you get into the heart of a tree, there's all the, like, different hues and textures and colors that can come with that. So, like, it isn't this blank brown face, its cheeks have blush to them. There's areas where the wood or the skin is lighter and darker. The leaves pouring over, you know, the forest phantom, as you've named her, are growing closer knit together and finer and smaller and look more manicured as she's ever moving slightly closer to you as you're kind of nodding in and out. You notice that breathing does not feel good.
Sure doesn't.
Imagine why.
You have, like, slight nausea. And, yeah, like this sort of, like, slipping in and out. Estelle, what are you doing next?
Mandy, how much do you know about real-life medicine?
Right?
I might be doing some Googling.
Do I have to start doing Googling now, too?
Well, let me maybe say this, too. Like, Juliet is kind of as stabilized as you're going to make Juliet right now with what you have around. There is also still Fred. Who is on the top of the rock, probably not doing great.
Okay, then yeah. As soon as Juliet is stabilized for a little bit, I think she's gonna have Juliet set up to keep snow on her to get the bruising down before we start wrapping her up.
Mm-hmm.
But also because I can leave her for a second. And Estelle's gonna go up the rocks again to Fred.
Cool. So,
what's going on with him?
When you get up there, you see that Maul is looking very annoyed and frustrated as Sheriff Mitchell is, like, tying bandages to her, like, cuts on her arms and stuff, you know. And he looks over at you coming up and goes, "You should probably look at Fred. That's beyond me to really know what to do with."
Guess it's a good thing that's where I was headed. And she goes over to Fred.
Make me a medical check.
Okay. Not as good. +1.
So you look down at his chest, and it's not scorched, you know, and there isn't exactly, like, as much broken skin, but there's, like, straight up bone protrusions. Like, it looks bad. He looks bad.
Hang on, I got a +1, but can I use an aspect to, like, add something?
What are your aspects? You can also use a fate point to just reroll.
I'm a vet. I understand, like, at least basic, like, what to do with bones.
I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, you can spend a fate point to add a +2 if you have an aspect that relates. But I could be misremembering that.
Oh, sorry. I was thinking stunt, not aspect. Yes. So I think you can either add 2 or reroll if you spend a fate point.
I'm going to go ahead and spend a fate point because I haven't spent any of those yet and make that a +3 total.
Okay. So Fred's breathing is labored. He is clammy. You can see broken bones in his chest. Like, none of that looks good. And all of that requires surgery. On top of that, when his eyes blink, they are bright green.
I think he's passed out, right?
No, awake.
Oh. Hi, Fred. Hey, okay. Jesus.
I didn't say you fainted, right?
No, you introduced the scene to me.
Yeah, definitely not fainted.
I'm trying to figure out how do I play someone who should be dead based on these injuries.
You shouldn't be dead. You are very hurt.
Yeah, you have like compound fractures. You're not like bleeding out. There's a difference.
Yeah, well, not on the outside.
The good news is we can see all the problems that Fred has. That's like,
Okay. In my pack, I have a basic field first aid kit, which includes different doses of tranquilizers.
Oh, okay.
So, Estelle is going to, after she does like a examination to tell what we need to do, she looks at Fred. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. Anything that I do is going to hurt. I can give you like some sedatives to help you pass out while I handle this, because I think that's the only way I'm going to be able to do anything with where your injuries are.
So, quick question, Cody.
Mm-hmm.
Am I in a ton of pain?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, either you can. I will let me say this to you. It's up to you how you play this. Either you are in shock and you feel nothing, or you are in excruciating agony. Like,
okay,
if you get hurt worse than this, you're basically dead. Like, actively dead.
I guess the thing I was fishing for is somehow my glowy green eye changed whateverness keeping me from feeling the pain. And
yeah, because you're like
not doing that.
Okay, that was what I was going for. So okay,
so he's not healing fast.
It's not been long enough, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, it's been minutes, not hours.
Okay.
He didn't heal from his last thing in minutes.
Okay, no, all right. That's fair.
He heals like Captain America, not like Wolverine.
Okay.
Hey, Estelle. I don't think we need to worry about that. I think I feel pretty fine. And he tries to like sit up and can't.
Oh, please don't. Please don't do that.
Yeah, you would basically just vomit if you did that.
I'd second thought maybe that's a good idea. 'Cause that really hurt.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be asking anymore. And she goes into her pack and she starts pulling out what would be a dose that would put him under for, I don't know, let's say like 4 hours max.
Okay.
Because basically all I want to do is I want to set any bones that I can, bandage, clean, set any bones that I can, I think would be the main thing. And then like try to stabilize anything else. I think, I don't know the right wording, but that sounds right. Do you want me to roll again?
Yeah, roll again.
Okay. That's what we needed. That's a +5.
Cool. So you, stab this injection into Fred, and Fred, at first, you don't feel anything, right? Like, you're like, oh, okay, like, this isn't making me pass out. And then, Fred, you have this odd stomach churning sensation of falling and catching yourself, and then falling and catching yourself, and then falling and catching yourself. You know, when you startle yourself awake? It's that feeling over and over and over again as you kind of sink in and out of consciousness. And Estelle, to your eyes, his burn bright, bright, bright green, almost luminescent to where it is emitting light, as you can kind of see his body at war trying to keep itself awake before his eyes flutter shut and he's out. Fred, that sensation of falling finally makes itself permanent. And there's this swirling confusion and then you find yourself in a cave. The forest phantom, who I'm tired of describing from scratch, is standing in front of you. She reaches out a hand and touches your chest.
You are broken, my friend.
Yeah, I've seen better days.
She smiles and goes,
I believe you have, but any day that you survive something horrible, that is sometimes a good day.
Her hand still rests on your chest, and she goes,
I do not know whether you will get through this the same. We will see how your will holds. But think, my friend, why do you wish to survive?
Do I need to have an answer for her?
You're not waking up yet, and you're still standing in front of her, so, you can decide how long you let that hang.
I don't think he answers that.
She smiles and goes,
If you do not decide, eventually something might decide for you. Growth and change is a part of the wilds. It's a part of me and it's a part of you. But there is also decay.
And as she says that, like with her hand on your chest, you feel that like crunching in your chest again, and you feel a sharp bite of pain, and everything around you fades to black. Back on the rock. Juliet, you're sitting by a campfire, feeling not great. Estelle, you are up on the top of the rock with Hector, Maul, and Mitchell. Fred has passed out, and you've managed to, like, immobilize him as much as possible.
Where's Autumn?
Do you want to ask that aloud?
Oh, is there anybody by me? I didn't think so.
No, but I mean, you can still talk. You're not like out. You can speak.
Okay, I thought I was like alone by a campfire though.
You basically are, but I mean, they're only up the rock face to you. They're not like miles away.
Okay.
They're 20 feet away, not,
Okay. Did Autumn make it back?
I think Estelle kind of like does a cursory glance around, but she's still pretty focused on Fred. I don't see Mitchell, Maul, is Autumn anywhere over by you?
Maul looks around the rock and goes, well, I can't hear her, I can't see her, and I can't smell her, so I'm going to assume she is not here. But 5 minutes ago, I was fist-fighting wolves, so I am distracted and a little worn out.
At this point, Hector will speak up. The last I saw her, she dove into the giant wolf in the sky and brought it off the rock, killing it.
Did you say you were fighting a sky wolf?
Yes, it was the most glorious battle you could have imagined. The wolf to end all wolves.
I woke up in a forest and I heard a voice in my head say, I know you're a killer, time to die. And then 3 wolves tried to kill me.
I am impressed. Wolves are not easy to take down.
So, but if she killed the wolf, then she should be here, right? She should be here.
I assume that's how that should work.
Unless she died with the wolf in glorious battle.
I will also say I didn't kill any of the wolves. Mitchell speaks up. I just went for a walk in the forest and I saw Juliet stab a man, and then I was here.
How does Maul react to that? I want to know.
Maul suddenly kind of like gets concerned and looks over the edge of the rock. Did you get shot in the chest?
Yes.
We need to get back to town. Definitely we need to get back to town very soon.
We can't. We have to do whatever the long journey is. Or the long walk.
Quick question, Cody.
Mm-hmm.
Does Hector have the same quest
I think he told us he got the same 3 things,
Yes.
right?
Okay,
Yeah.
he got the same. I just wanted to make clear that it wasn't him just like, I'm hunting wolves for the fun of it.
No. He's on the same journey as you guys.
Okay.
He wandered far enough that he found himself here. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what you're telling me is you want to take a gut shot Juliet and a crushed Fred on a long walk just into the distance.
Well, no, but maybe... I don't know, maybe this is where we have to split up.
Not that I want to stop us from going, but what do you mean split up? If we just wait here for, I don't know, maybe it's probably a day at least, and then...
Well, either way, I think we're here overnight. I think this is tonight, is here. But I am not going back to town without... I can't go back to town without doing whatever I have to do to help Matthew. And Willow and everyone else too, but I mean, for me it's Matthew.
Sheriff Mitchell looks at you and goes, I mean, at the moment, they're stable at least. Do we know that that we have some place to go? Like, what's the long walk?
All I know is that the Forest Phantom said that we are supposed to get lost to the east. So I guess we just start walking in the morning.
That maybe we could wait a day and then start walking? It doesn't sound like it's time sensitive if we just kind of have to wander for an indeterminate amount of time.
It's a little time sensitive to me, but I don't know how long Fred is going to take to get back on his feet. I don't think it's going to be 24 hours.
I will be happy to join you, Estelle. I care not for civilization or this town of yours, and there is more to hunt.
Mitchell looks at the giant man talking about hunting and goes, I think we just have to go for a long walk. I don't actually think we have to hunt anything. I think we just walk for like a long time.
He looks Mitchell up and down. Did you kill nothing to get out here?
No, I went for a walk.
No, not then, but to get to this point.
Oh, like in my life, have I ever killed anything?
In the past, from town to here.
No.
No giant birds, no wolves, no apex predators.
Literally none, no,
He can't come.
Mitchell looks at him and goes, I don't think I was asking you if I could join you. I'm going where the people from my town are going so I can help keep them safe.
If you can't kill anything, you cannot keep them safe, so...
I didn't say I couldn't kill anything, I said I didn't have to.
So, Estelle, are you and Hector and Mitchell all leaving in the morning then?
Here's what I will say. I think we've reevaluated in the morning. I think we take the rest of the day and tonight and we make sure you are as rested as possible. We try to get Fred off this rock and down to the campfire without breaking anything else. And we make a decision in the morning. But right now, I feel like I need to keep walking forward if we're gonna change anything. Also, I don't know, I feel like we have to do this before I even start dealing with this. And she, holds up her hand. So I don't really know what kind of a time crunch we're actually on.
Has it been getting worse, Cody? Her hand?
Right now it is basically the same of, what was it before, your whole hand and, starting to go up your arm?
I believe
that's where it left off, yeah.
It was definitely growing.
It was growing, yeah. It may be a little bit more, but not, super noticeably at the moment.
Okay.
Not seemingly after the trial. That didn't seem to make you worse or better.
Okay, that's what I was wondering, is if the trial,
sped it up.
Jumped it up, you know?
Yeah.
I guess that's fair. And maybe autumn will show up and everything will be wonderful and this will all be a dream and Yeah, that's bedtime sounds good.
Yeah, you definitely need to keep resting. Maul, Hector, Mitchell, if you guys feel up to it, can you help me try and get Fred down to the campfire?
Someone.
Hector just lifts him up.
Okay.
No. But you gotta get his legs.
All right, Hector, make a roll for that. For not snapping Fred in half.
Like a twig.
Calm down. Sorry, Fred. That is a -1.
For real?
Oh, jeez.
No, it's not.
What happens here is Hector picks up someone with broken bones inside of their chest, throws him over a shoulder, and then just jumps off.
Oh, no, don't.
Oh gosh.
There is a crunch when he hits the ground.
Yes, now I gotta reset everything.
Fred, you come to with a horrendous stab of pain as through the tranquilizers, you feel your bones rearrange in your body as you hit the ground on the back of a giant furry man. You're awake and just very high.
The crunching is weakness leaving the body.
Nope. I don't think that's how that works, Hector.
Yeah, what the hell's going on?
Sorry, Fred. Sorry. Just can you okay, gentle. Put him on the ground. Gentle.
I like Cody's thought process is like, Autumn's gone. And Cody's like, let's give Zach even more of a wild card.
As you guys try to resettle Fred, Maul hops off the rock and walks over to Juliet and kind of crouches down next to you by the fire and looks at you and goes, "Did you kill someone?"
Yeah.
She pokes at the area around that wound. "So I'm going to assume that was Lance then."
Yeah.
"And you killed him?"
I didn't really have. He didn't give me. I didn't want to. I was trying to talk to him and reason with him, and we could have worked it out. I know that we could have, but he didn't want to. He just kept coming at me, and so
she puts her hand on your arm and goes, "Oh, I wasn't judging you. When I told all of you that he wasn't going to give you a choice, I was not kidding. I don't not understand where he's coming from, but there's a type of person that's willing to, pile infected people on a fire and burn them to try to stop the infection. And there's a kind of person that's not willing to do that, no matter what the stakes are. And he was the former. I'm not saying he did what he did for bad reasons, but the limit of what he would do, there wasn't. He was never going to give you a choice."
But I didn't want to. It didn't have to be that way.
It did for him. There was no other option for him. There was for you, and I think there was for Autumn. I think she found a different option. But I don't think that means that was necessarily available to you. Did you hunt him down?
I kind of laid in wait for him.
At first, your first instinct was to lay in wait and fall on a tree and stab him?
No. That was after he made it clear that he was just going to keep running after me, and I figured it would be better if things ended quickly rather than after a long time. And yeah. But I wanted there to be a choice. I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be the person who stabs someone to death, who lays and waits for them to hear their footsteps above me and then stabs them again and has them bleed out all over the snow. And she just kind of cuts off.
I have lived a lot of places, and I stuck around Smoky Banks longer than I usually mean to. The reason I did that, I think, is largely because I was never faced with the dilemma of do I stab somebody, or do I hurt somebody, or do I steal from somebody so I can get by? It isn't about being a person that does or doesn't do that. It's about finding yourself in a place where you have to make that choice. At least it was for me. I've been there. I've felt what that choice feels like. The reason I stuck around Smoky Banks is because a lot of the times I don't have to make that choice. I think that's why I stuck around there, and I think it's why I found value in what all of you, she says, gesturing around to like the group at large. It's why I've tried to make that place my home. But I don't think it's that the people there are really all that much different. It's a different place. And I think that's something, worth striving for. I think that you try to make that a place where you don't have to make this choice. Do you understand what I mean?
Yes. And I definitely want to be in a place like that. I worry that how many times, how many people can I stab before I don't belong in a place like that anymore?
5? If it's more than 5, then we'll have to reevaluate whether I can stay there. But you told me I could, so 5. It's 5 right now.
Juliet laughs, but then that jostles her, and she kind of is like, ow.
She leaves her hand on your arm and goes, "Laughing's a bad idea." I also know that from experience.
Noted.
The rest of you, is anyone else doing anything?
Hector's trying to wrestle Guffy.
Why does everything hurt so much?
I'm trying to keep my patients alive.
Mitchell walks up to you and kind of looks around and goes, "Do you want to go try to find firewood?"
What, you mean take a break from staring at broken bones for a little bit?
Yeah, I sort of mean that I was being coy about it, but yes.
Yeah, I could use the break.
You guys walk off into barren snow, just kicking at banks, hoping you can find dried leaves and sticks and branches underneath of them. So, Autumn didn't come back. How long do we actually wait? Because I understand Juliet wants to sit there forever, and I think Hector's happy as long as he has Guffy. And I think that Fred is so drugged up that he probably will do whatever, but how long do we sit here and...
Off in the distance you hear, is there someone talking about me?
No, Fred. Nope, no one. Well, I was talking about how virile and youthful you look.
Good. I just figured I'll just play this drunk.
Virile is one of the worst nice descriptors you can have for someone, and I'm like, nope, not that.
You look like you could have tons of kids tomorrow. Mitchell makes a face. I'm bad at this. This is why I did not get into medical emergency response and why I got into breaking up bar fights.
That's pretty bad.
Well, okay, all you have to do is scritch people's bellies and say, "Who's a good boy?" Not that I'm judging, I can't do that either.
I feel like there's more to my job than that.
No, I mean,
okay.
but the bedside manner part, we're getting off subject.
I don't have an answer. I really feel like we need to keep going, just because that's what I don't think you've ever seen it, but the Forest Phantom seems to keep, that's what she said we were supposed to do. What they said we were supposed to do? I don't know. But I don't know how much time we have left. So maybe we just all need a good night's sleep and then we can figure out what we're going to do in the morning.
He nods and goes, "I think that makes sense." And then he kind of hesitates and scratches your back a little bit and goes, "You're doing great." Was that less awkward? It feels like it was more awkward. It's like a joke.
You do know we spent the night together, right? Like this is.
I don't know how to act like that now. We're in a frozen wasteland, and two of our friends are half dead.
She reaches over and grabs his hand. I mean, this is nice. This is better.
He kind of leans over into you and goes, "Yeah, you are better at bedside manner than me. That's true."
Anything- while we're walking around, can I do a notice or something to see if we see Autumn, or any indication of her?
Yeah, I will say you don't have to do a notice check for that. Autumn is not here.
Okay,
she's not hidden.
Yeah,
she's just not here.
She is risen indeed.
I didn't know if it was footprints or something like that, so.
No, you don't. You could maybe see the footprints that you guys left here. Certainly none going away. Yeah, I'm not going to make you roll because if you roll a 10, it's not going to change the answer.
Yeah.
Anything else anyone else wants to do before you guys, turn in for the night?
I want to talk to Maul. But it can be around the campfire.
Okay.
And, make sure everybody's bandaged up and...
Yep.
So when everybody's settling down for the night, I'm going to say to make this easy, Maul's taking the first watch.
Okay.
And Estelle just stays up a little bit later, and she sits close-ish to her.
Yeah.
And she breaks a stick and throws it into the fire while she's talking. Hey, I understand that this is probably a really sensitive topic, so you can just answer yes or no if it's too much. Did Lance do the same thing to your leg that he did to your arm?
One of them, yes.
Okay. Okay. And, did he do that because you had the same thing that I have?
Kind of, yes. Kind of, no. So, I told Juliet, and I imagine that maybe has gotten back to you, but...
Yeah, I might be putting some things together.
Yeah, I've been more places than Smoky Banks, and I don't believe it wasn't like a different eco-herb. I didn't grow up in a place with eco-herbs. Lance was a brilliant scientist, not unlike Juliet. Different field. I think it's a field that you guys don't really have, but he was at call it a remote research compound that I found myself towards. Craziest technology I've ever seen. He was brilliant when I met him. I was one of many people that had similar afflictions that showed up there, both people that he knew, other people from there and other people that found their way there. The fact that he was able to lop my arm off and then replace it meant that he was ready to do that. You know what I mean? He had advanced prosthetic replacements on the shelf. He didn't make that when he met me.
Yeah.
That's just a thing they could do.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing to my leg. Now, here's the question. Let's say your toe was infected bad enough that you had to get rid of it. Would you cut someone's leg off at the knee, or would you cut off the toe?
I mean, ideally the toe.
Yeah.
Depends on how much it's spread.
I think that he kind of was like, well, the toe's infected, and I want to do experiments on somebody, so that put me in the purview of someone he could do experiments on. So, you know.
But my question is, it's because of the same thing going on with me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
She reaches over and touches your arm where it's turning into wood. I don't know which one's better. You know what I mean? Does it hurt?
No.
Well, I don't know what would have happened to me if they hadn't done something about it, but I'm not sure it's better. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I understand that. Did you want them to get rid of it?
No, definitely not my first choice.
Like, not your arm, I'm talking about the infection.
Oh, that's an interesting question. Yes, but I had been in the wilds a long time at that point, and it changes you going from place to place and being lost for as long as I was wandering. It doesn't leave you the same. So honestly, I wasn't really shocked that I found myself manifesting changes. I saw a lot of weird things out here in the wilds. I wasn't really given a choice as to whether or not I wanted this to stop. It was definitely made for me, and it did put a close on it, so it's like, well, now I don't have to wonder anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have a pretty stable robotic prosthetic arm and leg. Okay. But I'm not sure what was going to happen, and I'm sure that what they did to me was pretty awful. So, that's my point is I didn't sign paperwork, right? I didn't agree to it.
Right. Okay. I was just wanted to confirm some of the things that I've been putting together. So.
Do you want it to stop?
I don't know. I don't think I've decided yet. I don't know if I'm going to get to make that choice, though.
I can understand that. The last real choice I made was not leaving Smoky Banks pretty quickly. Like, basically, once I stole enough food that I wasn't going to starve and took all the useful tools I could get my hands on, I didn't bolt into the forest right away, which was typically what I would have done. I decided to stick around. Now I still wandered off and found some people that wanted to buy some weird things that I could find. I'm pretty good at that. But I decided to stick around. You know what I mean? And she kind of like looks over at Mitchell and goes, it seems like you're deciding to stick around, but you also did kind of run off into the forest when I first met you, so,
Well, there's always been something that's called me out here, but I think it's becoming a little bit more intense now.
I know what you mean. I got attacked by wolves. What did you have to do, by the way? How'd you get out?
Don't judge me for this. I had to kill a deer that was already wounded. I think it underestimated me.
I think so too.
And I think I got lucky, and I don't know if I'm going to get lucky like that again.
Maul kind of like looks around at the campsite and goes, I'm not... I don't know if I would want to be in your shoes right now, honestly. To call yourself lucky's pretty... you're down kind of 3 friends. It's a rough spot to be in.
Oh, I meant specifically in that trial.
She laughs and goes, I think we're still in the trial.
Hopefully I'll be just as lucky in the next pot. Have a good night, Maul. And Estelle goes to sleep.
All right, so I'll say, the night passes with...
We're attacked by wolves. We're making...
You're attacked by wolves every 5 minutes. No, the night passes uneventfully. You do your regular rotation of keeping watch, except maybe not Fred and Juliet.
That would be appreciated.
No, I can totally keep a watch. I got this.
Or Autumn. You do your regular rotation. 3 of the 4 party members are not there.
So, Hector, Maul, the new party of people that you will all be playing next week, because I'm just role-playing 2 of you slowly dying.
So, okay. I am curious, though. Is Autumn just dead and Zach now plays Hector? Is that what's happening here?
I have a character sheet.
Okay.
So, anyways, the night passes uneventfully. all of you wake up the next morning. Juliet and Fred, make me some,
Not dying checks.
not dying checks.
You think I'd actually have my character sheet open before now.
3.
That's better. It's better.
I go better.
Hope comes in the morning.
Now, is this a physical not dying check or a mental not dying check?
Yes.
This is a physical not dying check.
Okay, physique.
Yeah, physique works, yeah.
I don't know why I was really arguing. They're both +1 either way.
Because you can't help yourself, that's why.
Well, I was just looking over my skills and I'm thinking, which one of these should I apply? Oh, maybe those different. And I realized as I asked it, doesn't matter.
It's both, so it's +2.
Bad. It's a 0.
Okay, cool. So, Juliet, you wake up the next morning, and I'll kind of let you decide emotionally how you play this.
Okay.
You wake up before everybody else. I'll say maybe there's like one person on watch who's kind of sitting away, staring off. Maybe it's Hector, and you feel better. You feel warm. You definitely hurt a lot. Whatever shock there was has worn off, and it's just like moving hurts. You gingerly get to your feet, and you feel like a kind of wave of nausea, and that passes, and you take a breath, and that hurts, but you can walk.
Okay.
And you're doing as good as that. Like occasional nausea, whatever.
Okay.
And I'll let you decide what you do with that. Oh, and I'll say through the night, you were still kind of having those like hazy visions off of, the forest phantom walking closer to you. And at some point, she kind of just seemed like she's holding distance, but pacing in a circle. But you still are occasionally, like when you get hit with that wave of nausea, it's like sound of insects comes back, breathing hurts, your vision clouds, you see that same thing, but it isn't getting closer and it isn't like increasing in frequency.
Is her skin still her skin?
Yes. Meanwhile, Fred, you wake up the next morning. You don't feel any pain necessarily. You maybe look over and see like Juliet struggling as she's like standing but looking rough and like maybe she shouldn't be standing. You kind of, shuffle off, get to your feet, and you look down at your chest that now seems to be entirely made of like a hard... Try to think of the right way to describe this. Have you ever seen fossilized wood?
Oh, yeah, like petrified wood?
Yeah. It's like a burnt orange color. It exactly matches what your skin was, but it is like from where your backpack straps would be to like just above your belly button is basically entirely this iron hard petrified wood. Your eyes are burning brilliantly green, and your sense of the world around you has changed. It's kind of like there is a constant now smell of the forest. In the back of your head, there is a constant buzzing, almost a slight ringing in your ears, for anyone who has tinnitus. Like if it gets quiet, you hear the forest just ringing in your ears. And your memories are starting to get cloudy as you try to think back to, like, you're from Smoky Banks, your name's Fred, most things about your character, but it's like, it feels like that was a long, long time ago. The rest of you wake up as normal.
Is this, hey everybody, is this normal? Am I supposed to be doing this? Kind of points to his chest.
Wait, what? And Estelle, like, I think that, like, breaks her out of, like, sleep. And where were, like, is that where the majority of the bones were, like...
Yeah, it was his ribs that were jacked
It was
up.
his ribs.
Yeah.
Okay. And she gets the okay from Fred before, like, touching, like, where things were.
Yeah.
Like, where bones were sticking out and stuff. And it's just, like, smooth. There's no bones sticking out. There's no
You can feel where ribs would be. Like, it'd be difficult to do because it's so, like, it doesn't give like skin does. Like, as you try to poke, you could almost feel a ridge where there maybe was a rib, but that's all just totally hard at this point. I'll say, meanwhile, you see Maul kind of like walk up and just go, look, don't freak out. I promise. If this gets painful, I'll stop. And then she just stabs you with a knife and it goes like, tink. And she's like, yep. Tink, 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 tink.
Did you just wake up to it like this?
Yeah, I kind of just woke up and are my eyes still glowing?
Yeah, very green.
Can I tell that my eyes are glowing?
That's a difficult question. I guess immediately all of you see extremely glowy green eyes on Fred, like frickin' lamps.
Well, I guess can Fred tell that though?
I guess no.
I interpret it like when he said it was luminous enough that it was like showing light. I assume that meant it was like glowing enough that you could see like a halo on your vision,
I like that. It would be like if you hold your hand up to it, it would glow a little bit green. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, I just kind of woke up not feeling any pain, which I kind of expected because it seems like a long time ago now, but that kind of sucked. I woke up, my chest is like this, my eyes are doing the thing. Hey, but good test with the knife. I was actually going to see if someone wanted to punch me because it feels like it wouldn't hurt at all. And yeah, that didn't hurt at all.
You see Maul kind of like look down at her hand and go, yeah, and just punch you with like her robot arm. And again, there's like, dink, and you step back as there's an impact that just pushes you, but you don't feel it at all.
Hector walks over to Mal. If you need to fell a tree, and hands her an axe.
She just goes, oh yeah, and then tink.
No, swing with your back, and he attacks Fred's chest.
Tink.
Fred, where were you? Do you remember when we all got attacked like a week and a half ago now? Do you remember where did you get a cut? Where did you get, where was the worst of your injuries? Do you remember?
2 questions. 1, do I remember? And 2, where was it?
I want to say your skin had started to, well, yeah, because it was like under the skin, your bones had started to change, but there wasn't any, like you were beat up all over the place.
I don't know if I'd say I had a particular cut. I was kind of just beaten to a pulp all over.
Okay, so this just happened because it was. Are you feeling okay? Are you breathing okay? I mean, you're standing.
Yeah, there's no pain. I feel fine. Having a little trouble remembering some stuff, but nothing major.
Okay, Juliet, how are you doing? How are you this morning? Are you having?
So I think, while this is all going on and everyone's, punching Fred, stabbing Fred, axing Fred.
Well,
I think
punching. We're using literal weapons. Punching Fred.
Well, there's punch and stab and axe. So while all that's happening, I think in the background, Juliet is very slowly and gingerly trying to get dressed and get herself going because she knows it's going to take her twice as long. And she's like, oh, good. I have some time to catch up to where everybody's going to be in 5 minutes. And so she's just kind of lacing up her boots and she's like, I can stand and, it's still a bit sore, but I'm alive and I think it'll be okay. I was actually going to try to look for some medicinal plants before we left, if we have a quick second for that, but
can you, can I check your wound? Are you as tough as Fred now?
I don't look like that. No, you can check it, but I haven't seen anything like that.
I can swing an axe into you if you like.
Please don't. Please, don't do that. I guess the only weird thing is that I keep seeing the forest phantom in my dreams again, but she's far away. She's just kind of, I guess, circling, which sounds menacing. I guess it is menacing, sort of, maybe.
Estelle is going to take a look at her injuries and, like, get a read on how bad they are, maybe like 12 hours later. I assume they are not drastically different in this, either the same way or otherwise.
I would say I'll kind of go with like the same original diagnostic roll that you made on this, unless you really want to like glean significantly more information. After the snow kind of like washed away some of the blood and debris from around like that initial impact, so you don't see like bones pushing on skin in the wrong places, which leads you to believe probably fractures. What you're not sure about is if there's any kind of like soft tissue, like internal bleeding issues that haven't manifested yet because they haven't gotten bad enough yet. But if that is the case, like, it'll require some kind of surgery to try to like staunch bleeding on the inside of her body. The actual wound itself is cauterized, but there's like, it looks pretty painful. You know, like it's basically a pretty bad burn that's maybe the size of a baseball, like on her chest, like she was hit with like a burning stick or something, right? So there's like blistered skin and, you know, maybe like it's starting to bleed a little bit in places where, you know, like that's starting to break apart. So, like, from an immediate, like, comfort, it's like, well, keep that covered and whatever you can do for pain on that, and trying to keep infections from setting in where there are some open cuts.
It sounds like there might be something different or something else I can learn. So I'm going to try to roll and see if there's anything else I can get from this.
Okay.
I don't know if a +3 will do anything else.
Seems pretty good.
I don't remember what my initial roll was.
Let me think about how I would want to phrase this.
I think it was a +2.
So there's a few things at play here. One, you don't know what this weapon was, but it certainly wasn't anything that you've seen before. This wasn't a stab wound, and it wasn't one of the moon lasers that were used. It doesn't look like the attack of an animal that you've seen before, so that makes it difficult to diagnose how difficult or how bad this might be.
Mm-hmm.
You would notice that pretty specifically, she is not showing any signs of healing quickly, and probably is lying about how bad it is to be standing.
Yeah.
Like your bedside manner tells you this is probably really painful, and you doubt that she would really be able to do much, like physically.
Okay, as she's checking her injuries, Estelle like drops her voice. Are you sure you can keep going?
I'm gonna get something for the pain and to reduce the inflammation, and that should help considerably.
Okay, can you tell Mole and I like what to look for? And can you just stay as long as possible? Just chill?
That would be appreciated. And she like kind of draws a little sketch of like some feathery sort of leaves. They'll be kind of dry in the cold, but they should still work.
Okay, let's try and keep you as stationary as we can before we keep moving.
Make me a plant roll, Juliet.
Well, so I have a stunt.
Oh.
Called It's Medicinal. Once per session per person, I can use my plant identification to heal someone. Uncheck the lowest marked stress box.
Oh, dadgum.
Nice.
All right.
Yeah, so I can do that for Fred as well, but it seems like he maybe does not need it.
It costs a fate point each time you use it, too.
Yes. How many fate points do I have?
3.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
Well, I'll say that, yeah, you're able to draw them a picture, and you are able to find, I mean, that's very beneficial for you. Yeah.
That's a good one.
While they're out doing that, Hector walks over. I heard that they're looking for plants, but I've only found this will fix everything, and he hands you a flask. Drink up.
What is it?
It is a healing tincture.
Oh, what's in it? What sort of chemical compounds?
He gives you the flattest stare. Chemical what now?
I can probably figure out via taste. And she like takes this tiny sip. It's just whiskey.
It's moonshine.
Yeah, it's like you're not sure if what this was distilled from, but they've worked out distilling.
Your problems seem a little bit less bad.
Right. That's certainly potent.
That is how my grandma described it when she gave it to me when I was 10.
She sounds like a fierce lady.
The fiercest. I learned everything I know from her.
All right, anyone else doing anything before you all set out?
I assume we find whatever plant.
Yeah. The using a point. Yeah, I unchecked the box, so yeah, you're
Perfect.
able to find whatever leaf, You can put it in his in the healing tincture from Hector.
Hey, you gave me a character sheet that says I have liquor of mysterious origin.
I was pretty proud of that when I was writing down what was in your inventory. Yeah, I liked that one.
I did too, hence me having to bring it up.
So before we leave, we are going to leave Autumn a pile of rocks in the shape of an arrow to show that we obviously went a certain direction. I'm going to say it's with a fluff of Guffy's hair or something, so it's obvious it was us.
Yep, that seems like a good idea. As you all set out, the scene changes. Autumn, you find yourself in a very cramped, dark, warm place. When you first wake up, it feels difficult to rectify where you just were with where you are now. You're looking at at a smooth, papery wall that is wrapped around you. If you reach out, it's sarcophagus-sized all around you. The air feels and smells damp and kind of warm. You can hear water running nearby, and through this thin papery material around you, you can just barely see figures moving as if backlit through firelight, right? So there's light shining on this and you can see shadows moving around it, but you can't quite see through it, so it's very, very opaque but translucent. What do you do?
How is she feeling?
At the moment, you don't notice anything different.
Can I try to rip through?
Sure. You reach out your hand and start pushing at this soft, papery material in front of you, and your hand hits it and sinks in and then meets resistance as you start trying to tear and grab at it, but you're unable to find purchase. It's slippery in a way that you can sink your hand in, but as you drag it down, you can't quite find purchase. And as you writhe and claw at it, you have a moment where you look at your hands and realize they're entirely made of wood. They're rigid and difficult to move. You look at your arms that have grown odd and distended, and down at your body that has seemingly been replaced entirely with smooth wood growing in to this soft, papery material all around you as you flail alone in this semi-darkness. Thanks for listening to this episode of Wanderlust. Music for this show is credited down below. If you like this campaign, you can find more of our shows at the Wandering Gamer website or on Podbean. You can also find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Links in the description. Now bear in mind, in the wilds, some wander to get lost, and some wander to find themselves.